Kia ora koutou. Welcome to the final edition for 2024 of the Hot Air Sports Podcast with me, Macca, and me good mate Mahona. How are you, Aaron?
Yeah, good brother. How are you? Heading towards
I'm
Christmas.
very good indeed. Yes. Merry Christmas to you and Sharice and the family.
Back to you, mate. Back to you and Michelle down in the
Yes,
mighty Warrappa.
that's
Oh,
the
I hope
one.
it's got the Christmas full of the Christmas spirit down there at the moment, mate. The local markets and the
Yes, we
yeah, beautiful.
had the annual Greyfriars Motel Christmas lunch yesterday.
Yeah,
So
saw the
it was
photos.
wonderful. All the staff came along and we had a couple of drinks and a nice Christmas ham and it was bloody beautiful.
Beautiful. You feeling a bit dusty today?
Oh no, no, all top of the morning this morning. All good. Yep.
Well, aren't the viewers and the listeners privileged enough today, mate? Instead of one man in red, they've got two, eh? Two
Quite
old men
right.
in red.
Quite right. Yep.
Let's crack into it.
Yep, yes, Liverpool are top of the table in both the Premier League and Champions League, and of course
Of
through to
course they
the
are.
finals of the
Yep.
Carabao Cup. So
Yeah.
people are saying, "Oh, it's early in the season," but let's be honest. Liverpool haven't played anybody above them in the league yet.
Nah, could it get any better? I mean, really? I mean, were we expecting this? I wasn't expecting this. I mean, I was expecting us to do fairly well this season, but not the way it's gone. We've only lost
No,
one
no.
game, mate. We've only lost one game, and that was a tight one against Nottingham Forest at home. And I just love the way this team scraps. We were behind a couple of times with 11 men for most of well, 10 men most of the game over the weekend, and we fought hard. And then yesterday with that team of youngsters and all sorts of names. And
Yeah.
at the end, I think we had five guys up front and two at the back. I don't know what the hell he was trying to do, but no, man, I think he was almost trying to lose it. It was a strange game, but no, absolutely stoked the way they're going, mate. It looks like it could end in glory. I mean, especially the way the other teams are going. We'll get to that shortly, though. Have got a few questions for you, though. I mean, these
Yep.
contract situations go on and on and on. We still haven't heard the end of Virgil, Mo, or Trent's contract
No.
situations. That's probably people are talking about that more than our actual form. And when you consider we're top of the table, it shows how front of mind it is. What are you thinking, mate? What are you thinking? I've heard the situation with Trent. He's wanting 350K. Mo and Virgil, to me, I reckon they're done deals. I reckon it's going to get
Yeah.
done, both of those guys.
Absolutely. I'd give Trent 350 a week. Oh, no,
Ooh.
I know it's not my money, but
Yeah,
he's worth every cent of it.
yeah.
Um,
He's the
and
world's best right
he's only
back.
26. He's just played his 300th game for the club. He's the club vice captain.
Mm,
Um, he's an integral part. Look, I know Connor Bradley is a good player, but
yeah,
you know, some of those passes that Trent plays just out of nowhere. I mean, no
yeah,
player in the world can play those passes. And
no,
he just
they can't.
unlocks defenses, with seeming ease. And yeah, he's probably not the best defensive right back in the country, in the
I think
world.
it's his effort sometimes. It's just
Yeah.
seems like sometimes he's wandering back. He doesn't seem to put in. At the beginning of the season, I thought he was doing a bit of that, but the
Mm.
last couple of weeks, he seems to be going into some of those bad habits again. But I agree with you, mate. I'd love to keep him. Can we keep all three, please? Can we just?
Oh,
I mean,
100%.
that'd be a best Christmas gift of all for all Liverpool fans, wouldn't it? If we could
Well,
just
there
keep
was
all three.
rumors about, might have been a month ago now that Mo had agreed to a 2-year deal, but that
Hmm.
was just rumor.
I'd lock him in for three, wouldn't
Oh,
you? I mean,
absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
he's got the body of a 21-year-old, mate. He's just a beast. But something else we need to talk about, mate. I've been saying it for a little while now. I mean, I love Andy Robertson. I love having a Scottish guy in the team, especially at fullback. But I just think he's rinsed, mate. I really do. I've been saying he's just the last couple of years, he's just not doing it. I love it. I love his effort. I love his effort. Doesn't have a right foot to save himself. That he put himself in that situation the other day. I just think we need another left back. I've been saying it for ages. We need another left back. And if we do need another left back, who are we going to buy?
Well, I don't know. Afonso Davis from Bayern Munich's out of contract
Woohoo!
at the end of this season, so maybe we look at him. But I mean, maybe it's my Scottish background or my Scottish
I think it
heritage,
is.
but
You got
I
the Andy Robertson
don't give
glasses
up
on,
on
right?
Andy just yet. I think there's still something left. He's had a bad run. he's had relatively an injury-free career till last
Mm.
year when
Yep.
he broke his he damaged his shoulder playing for
Yep.
Scotland, and that took a long time to come right. And then he's had other little what you would call 30-year-old playing knocks, and he's just not been able to get a decent run. And he had no preseason this year, if you
Mm.
remember, because he got injured during the European Championships, and he didn't play any preseason games. He came in cold. Simicus was getting games ahead of him,
He was
which was needed at the time
interesting.
because Andy was still getting himself up to full match fitness again. He has showed glimpses of his old self,
He has, but they're
but
fleeting.
not on a consistent basis. And when you look again at that penalty, the sending off on the weekend, it actually shouldn't
Mm.
have been a sending off.
No, it shouldn't have been a sending off, really, should he? Because Harry Wilson was never going to score a goal.
Exactly. He
Hey,
didn't
I mean,
deny Harry Wilson of a goal scoring opportunity.
exactly. And there should have been two red cards for their team
Yep,
prior to that. Andreas
100%.
Pereira, that Andreas Pereira one was a straight red. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
That tackle. The other one was probably arguable, but I mean, if you're going to send Ed Robertson off, yeah, I mean, let's just not get into refs, shall we? We could just we'll just spend
Yeah.
all 40 minutes just going bitching and moaning. We've got a bitch and moan corner at the very end. Okay, I've got a few things I want to bitch and moan about. I'd love to sign Alphonso Davies. I reckon he'd be a great answer. If we had him on one flank and Trent on the other, man, that would
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
outrageous. The other options, Milos Kerkez from
Oh,
Bournemouth. I
Bournemouth.
actually quite like him. He's a young player with a hell of an upside. Ryan Agnori from Wolves. They could get relegated. We could pick him up for cheap. And the other guy they're talking about is Piero and Capier from Leverkusen, who played pretty well against Mo Salah, but then Salah scored a couple of goals anyway
Yeah.
at the end of the game. But he's a fairly handy player as well. The other position we may need is holding midfielder. You think we still need a holding midfielder, or are you happy with Gravenberch still doing the job there?
Oh, hey, look, he's doing a fantastic job, and I'm sure that you've been having a few servings of humble pie in the first half of the season after,
Absolutely.
and I
I'm
must admit
happily,
that,
I'm happily,
yeah,
happily eating it, mate. Happily
I
eating it.
must admit I've eaten a couple of slices myself because at the beginning of the year, I, like you, was very doubtful
Yep.
as to what he would do. He's our player of the season so far.
Oh, it has to be.
Um, and look at how he adapted to playing centre back on
That was
Saturday.
outrageous.
He
That was
just,
and just the way that Slot at the beginning, he was like, okay, we'll put Gakpo at left wing back. Oh, hang on, that's not working. 2 minutes later, Gravenberch's dropping in. I just love the way that Slot does that. Eh? He didn't make
mm,
any substitutions. He just moved things around on the field. What
yep,
an and Gravenberch at central defender. I
yeah,
mean, come on, come on. Next thing you know, we'll be playing in goal. You know,
yeah, exactly.
he's,
But
he's
yeah,
just
I think we do
outrageous.
need somebody else. I'd like to see Curtis Jones and Alexis McAllister being able to get a bit further forward. Um,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
definitely
that
missed
would.
McAllister on the weekend against Fulham,
Yeah,
and I haven't seen yesterday's game yet,
I
but
just saw the highlights. Yeah.
only seen a couple of highlights. But
Mm.
I'm glad he's
Apparently,
back.
Simicast came on. Simicast came on in the second half for 45 minutes, which is
Yeah.
great news. Jota came on and Chiesa came on as well, which is awesome. He
Oh, he
played
nearly
45 as well.
scored too.
I know twice.
Yeah.
Twice he nearly, and one time he didn't even hit the quarter flag. It was an absolute shocker. But I mean, mate, he's one of those guys. He could just be, I mean, it'd be like a new signing, wouldn't he?
Yep. I've got
So
a
yeah, I
question
would,
for you.
yeah, mate.
Um, Darwin Núñez, keep or
Oh
sell?
yeah. Well, that was my other thing. I was sort of saying holding midfield. I'd still like to be in for Zubamendi. I just think we need him for depth. We need another player in the midfield. But yeah, I mean, I've always been a Darwin fan. I just love his effort and attitude and just what he does. He's just got no confidence at the moment, though, you know. And I think it would have been easier if we had had everyone else fit. We could have rotated him around. He could have come off the bench as a sub, maybe got
Yep.
his confidence that way. But with not having any confidence and having to play all the time, I just think he's sort of in the cycle of like he can't get out of it. And I just think hopefully that goal yesterday would have helped.
Mm,
But from what I've heard, he didn't play very well. He just scored that goal.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know, man. I am losing patience a bit. You know, it's 3 years in. You're sort of thinking if
Mm,
we just had someone who was a bit more clinical, we could be doing so much better. But how can we complain? We're top of the league. You
I
know,
know.
I mean, if we were going to look to buy someone? You got anyone in mind?
Not really. I think we've probably got enough cover, to be perfectly honest. You've got like both Salah and Diaz and Gakpo can all play at centre forward in the number
Yep.
nine role.
And so can Chiesa.
Yeah,
At a
well,
pinch,
he's
He can,
better out wide, but
he is.
and you look at just in the highlights I saw yesterday, Harvey Elliott looked just magical.
Yeah, again.
And
Yeah.
I know his favoured role is probably midfield, but he does some good things up front.
Yeah, he does. I just don't think he's got enough pace, though. For me, I've looked at three players as options. One of them is Omar Mamouche from Stuttgart. Although
Yep.
I'm hesitant of signing players from Stuttgart because they seem to look $1 billion, and they go to anywhere and they're crap. So a little bit hesitant about him, and he's not really a striker; he's more of a second striker.
Well,
But he is
didn't Endo
Egyptian,
come
so
from Stuttgart?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, that's true. Victor Gorkarez is the other guy that used to play for Coventry, and he's banging them in for
Yeah.
Porto at the moment. He looks amazing. For me, he could be Harry Kane Mark too. I think he's a really, really good player. I'd love us to sign him. And the other guy is João Pedro from Brighton. He's only been playing for them this season. Before that, it was Watford. He's just got a great. He came to England as a 19-year-old, and I think he's 24, 25 now. He's just maturing into a really, really good player. I reckon he'd go straight into the first team and bang in some goals for us. So either one of those three would do a great job for me. So there's a few options for you. Shall we
Lovely.
get on to how our rivals are doing, mate? Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Man United, Spurs. Shall we start with Chelsea? They're second.
Yeah,
What
they're
do you make
doing
of
well.
them?
They're I think they're proving a few pundits wrong. Chelsea Enzo Maresca has he's I think the what he's done there is he's actually settled on a playing squad
Yep.
rather than just who I can't even remember who the previous manager was now. Um,
It was Pochettino.
Pochettino, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just seemed to pick a different team every single week.
He was
And
dazzled by the
even,
options.
yeah,
Okay, who we pick on the right wing of these seven players?
yeah,
Who we pick on the left? They've just got so many options. You're right. You're right. He's settled on a Maresca's settled on a squad. He sort of said, like, these 22 are my players. The rest of
yeah,
them can go and train with the kids. So now they've got like 60 players training for the
yeah.
reserves, and he's just chosen his top 22.
And
There was Mudryk.
it also helps that Cole Palmer's been playing
Oh,
unbelievable
absolutely.
football this year.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, Mudryk, he's in a spot of bother, isn't he?
He is not to be a bit of a skeptic here, or a bit of a conspiracy theorist. But hasn't this happened before at Chelsea with Mutu, and when
Yeah.
they sort of bought these players and they didn't really want them, and then all of a sudden they fail a drugs test, and
Mm,
Chelsea go, oh well, we don't even need these players anymore. I'm just a little bit suspicious. He signed a 9-year deal. Obviously, he's nowhere near the first squad at the moment. I think Chelsea are trying to get rid of him. I wouldn't be surprised if they chuck something in his cornflakes. But there you go. You didn't hear that here. So Chelsea, yeah, man, they're doing great guns. But I mean, man, they've spent £1 billion, so they should be
oh,
doing
so
bloody
they
good.
should be, yeah.
Shall we get to Man City? Shall we beat up ourselves?
Oh, crikey. Yeah.
What the hell's going on at Man City, mate?
Oh, yeah, I just think they've got to their use by date, and they um,
Refreshed their squad.
haven't refreshed. You look at the great sides of I dare I say it under Alex Ferguson. Every year, every season would start, and there'd be two or three new players in there, and you'd go, oh yeah, they're going to struggle this year, and they'd have a couple of early season hiccups, and then the engine would just start to tick over, and away they'd go. But
Yeah.
it's not happened. I mean, they've really only bought in Savinho was the only
Yep.
player they bought in this year, and they lost
They lost
Alvarez.
Alvarez. That's a big loss. I
Mm,
don't know why they sold him. I mean, he could bang in the goals when Haaland isn't scoring, or
yeah,
when he's injured. What if Haaland gets injured? He
yeah,
isn't even injured. But if he gets injured, they got no one up front either. They're not going to score even less goals. People like Phil Foden, what's going on? For me, I mean, I just don't know whether they've just got sick of Pep's message. I don't know. Hey, Pep looked a broken man, didn't he, after
he
the weekend?
did. Yeah,
He was just like, I'm useless, I'm hopeless. I'm saying all these things. It's like self-harm, man. I mean, It's just a bit. I mean, I don't have any sympathy though. I'm
Oh
sorry, I've
no,
no
not at all.
sympathy. Zero
And
after what we've
and
suffered at their
let's
hands.
just take a quick look back at the teams that he's managed.
Yep,
He inherited a really good side when he took over at Barcelona
yep, yep,
and was only there 3, 4 years
yep.
before he moved on to
One,
Bayern Munich, where again he inherited a bloody good side, won all the trophies under the sun in 3 or 4 years, and it was time to move to the Premiership and won all
and
the
spend a
trophies under
billion.
the sun, but just hasn't been able to. Well, he hasn't refreshed the squad as much as he should. Maybe
No,
he thought that, the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and all Kyle Walker and all those types of players would just keep going and going. But
he must have. He must have because he's just signed a new contract himself. So he must have thought that they could do a job. But Walker's washed.
oh,
When I said that bloody Andrew Robinson's washed, I mean Walker. There's no doubt, mate. I mean he's still got a bit of
mm,
pace, but he still doesn't quite have that electric pace that he had. And that
no,
to me was all he really had as a right back. Anyway, Trent should be playing ahead of him all day, every day for
yep.
England. But I mean, I'd rather he didn't. So I'm not going to shout that from the rooftops. Anyway, so Man City, enough on Man City. Screw them. Arsenal, what are you making of Arsenal? They're a bit up and down at the moment. Arteta's so boring. They're basically London Stoke, aren't they, mate? The way they play, they only score from set pieces, long throws, and they like big guys and bullying tactics and don't really create much.
Yeah, yeah, that's same old Arsenal really. I mean, they
Arteta's Arsenal.
relied on Jesus yesterday
Yeah,
to score a hat trick to beat Crystal Palace.
yeah.
And apparently one of those was so blatantly
Dodgy,
offside it wasn't funny. Uh,
very.
but no VAR. So yeah, enough said. And
Yeah, I
Spurs
just
are
think
just
they're
being Spurs.
Spurs are being so Spursy, thrash one team, then the next week they crash to someone else. It's just so bizarre. What about United then? They've got a new manager, Amarim. I just couldn't help laughing at the end of that Manchester derby, mate. I was just laughing and laughing and laughing. I mean, not because of what Man United were. It was just hilarious. It was just hilarious. Ahmad's a good player. It's been interesting to see what he's done with Rashford and Garnacho. How he
Yeah.
sort of said, "Well, it's obviously an attitude thing with them." He said it wasn't. They weren't dropped over disciplinary reasons. It was something else. So
Mm.
to me, it's attitude, obviously.
Well, and Rashford's now come out and said he's ready to leave.
Yeah. Well, he's got the right attitude then. And the other person we have to, I was going to say team, but Forest, our own Chris Wood, mate, top of the goal
Yeah,
scoring almost.
yeah, and a finalist in the Hellberg Awards. I
I
couldn't
couldn't believe
believe it when
that.
I saw that in
Yeah,
an
I couldn't
Olympic
believe it.
year of all things.
Yeah, they gave him a finalist thing, and then they'll just sort of say, "Oh yeah, we can't give it to you, mate. You won't get
Yeah.
anything." Football. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw it because I think a few months ago I sort of said here on a social media post I think I said, "Oh, he'll get nowhere near it when Halberg's
Oh,
come around,"
same.
but
Yeah.
absolutely stoked that he has. Um,
And also, just quickly on the Hellbergs, James
yeah,
McDonald, a jockey,
yeah,
is a finalist in
crazy.
Sportsman of the Year.
Are you on the judging panel this year or something, mate? What's going on? We
Cousin
actually.
James, yeah.
Uh, other than the Premier League, mate, what about the A League? Who's top of the A League at the moment?
Wow, yeah, Auckland
Oh,
FC doing well.
aren't they doing fantastically, mate?
Yep.
Up the port, up the port. That was a great draw the other day. The first game in Australia. Some good goals scored. They came back and made it a 2-2 draw. I am a bit concerned though about losing that defender at the back. I can't remember his name now, but he's a
Yeah,
bloody
Hall,
handy defender.
Dan
Yeah,
Hall.
that's right, Hall. Yeah, Dan Hall.
Mm.
Looks like he's going to be out long term. They better sign another player. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure.
well, Phoenix have lost a player for the rest of the season too, Kolikovsky,
Oh
who
yeah.
hasn't featured a lot. He's
Mm,
basically come off the bench because he didn't have much of a preseason. But he was just starting to get into games, and he's done his ACL in training.
that's
So
unfortunate,
yeah,
eh?
both squads being hit hard by injuries. It will be
Do
interesting to
you
see if they do anything in the January window.
What do you think will happen come playoff time? Do you think both of these teams will be in the playoffs?
I think they'll
The
both be in
Phoenix
the
and the
playoffs. I don't know how high up they'll be.
mm,
Um, Auckland, I mean, they're playing some really good football, but
they are.
I mean, let's be honest, they've only had two away games in Australia
That's right.
so
That's right.
far, and their
Yeah,
other away game obviously was down here in Wellington. But
that's right.
yeah,
Well,
look,
how about the derbies? How about the
I
derbies?
want them to do well because
Oh,
if they're doing well and the Phoenix are doing well, it's great. Um, some of the banter is a bit over the top.
oh, if you're a fan of New Zealand football, I
Yeah,
mean, surely you want them both to do well. I just think a lot of it's coming from young people who just want a bit of bants, and
yeah,
they've seen this shit go on in the EPL and they think, oh, I'm going to do it and, make this. And
yeah.
it's some of it's kind of pathetic, really, eh?
Oh, and childish too.
Oh, it's just stupid. I mean, it's great. It's great to have a bit of banter, but
Mm,
some of it's just, I mean, taking the W out of Wellington, that was clever, I
yeah,
mean, some of it's clever, but some of it's just stupid too. Yeah, I just think both teams need to realize, especially when a New Zealand team's playing an Australian team. I've seen some shit online when Auckland was playing, all the
yep.
Phoenix people going, yeah, they're fucking finally going to get there. I'm just like, why would you support an Australian team above? Anyway,
Mm.
anyway,
Oh, I
let's not get
remember
onto parochial.
remember back in the day when I had a season ticket at Eden Park, and not
Yeah.
being an Aucklander myself at the time, well, at the time I'd only lived up there for a few years, and
Yeah.
I'd turn up to my seat and everybody around me would go, "Who are you supporting today, Ian?" And I'd just go, "Who's Auckland playing?"
It's the way. Yeah.
And
It's the way to do it.
yeah, it's the old thing. I support two teams, New Zealand and anybody playing Australia.
Absolutely, mate. Anyone playing Australia,
Mm.
exactly the same as you in any sport. Should
Anyway,
we get into a
moving
bit of
on.
cricket? Should we get into a bit of cricket?
Get into a bit of cricket. Before I get into my rant, I'd just like
Yes.
to congratulate Tim Southey on his wonderful, wonderful cricket career up till 2 years ago.
I was going to say a very, very similar thing, mate. I've got a bit of a bitch and moan corner to go into as well. We're going to have your rant shortly. Yeah, man, Tim Southey, absolutely fantastic. Nothing wrong with all the celebrating, but yeah, should have been gone at least a year ago.
Mm.
Anyway, I mean, probably a couple of years, but no, great career, great career. But I think his bowling average probably would have been under 30 if he had retired at the
Oh,
correct
100,
time. So,
yeah, absolutely would have been.
yeah,
But yeah, no, tremendous servant to the game. By all
yep,
accounts, he was the joker in the changing room for a long
yep,
time until
top bloke.
until he became captain, which was actually around the time he should have been dropped. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, enough
Um,
said.
yeah, so anyway, I have been bitching and moaning about how cricket is produced in this country.
Mm,
We've got no more home tests this summer. It's the
no.
20th of December.
That's right. That's we're
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 not even,
just getting into summer, Ian.
we're hardly into summer, and there's no more home test matches. Come
Can I just
on.
say I haven't had a test match in my part of the woods for over a decade.
Yeah.
So you mate, at least you have them down your part of the way. I mean, I have to travel to Hamilton.
Yep. Come on, New Zealand cricket. Let's bloody face facts. You say you want to have one day games and T20 games because they're money makers. How about the crowds that have been packing into grounds for these three tests against England?
Unbelievable, eh?
Yeah,
Um,
the
you and I
crowds at the Australian tests last summer.
oh, I know.
We even get good crowds for the likes of Sri Lanka, even though they're here just about every second year. We get good crowds for the Indian tests. We
Yep,
get good crowds for any test matches. You
yep. And
tell me a
five
year.
days. 5 days. So you
Yeah,
get 5 days of crowds,
exactly.
You make some money.
It's just
Um,
in Australia, and I know I harp on about Australian and tradition and sports and tradition,
yep, yep,
but they've got it right. You know,
yep.
I know now that for the next 5 years, there's going
Hmm.
to be a pre-Christmas test in Adelaide.
Yep.
There's going to be a test
Where's
before
the
that in Perth.
Boxing Day? I'm not sure where that test's going to be. Where's that going to be? Oh, it's
Oh,
always in the same place.
yeah,
It's been there forever.
for over 100 years.
We know we know on Boxing Day we sit down. We're going to watch Test cricket from there.
Yep, and on the 2nd of
Why
January,
couldn't mate?
it gives us they give us a couple of days to recover from New Year's Eve. and we get more Test cricket.
Mate, okay. England has just been here for 3 tests, filled up the grounds. It was 2-1. How about another test over Boxing Day? They could
Yeah.
have just stayed for another week and a half, 10 more days, put it over Boxing Day, put it at Eden Park, make it
Mm.
a day-night test. Can you
Yep.
imagine how many people you get in the evening at Eden Park if they were playing test cricket?
Yep.
I'm just spitballing here, Macca. Do
Yeah.
you think they actually have these meetings at Cricket HQ, or they just go, oh, okay, we've got the three, okay, one to Hamilton. They just go through it and okay, when can we fit them in? Hang on, we got a T20 tour by Bangladesh
Yeah,
Christmas
that's
time,
far
so we
more
can't do
important.
it. So fuck. So, honestly, mate, yeah,
Yep.
you're right. You're
And
dead right.
and who are the ones that like Test matches and one day internationals? Proper cricket fans.
That's right. Of
It's a different crowd goes to a T20. I love my
course it
cricket.
is.
Absolutely love my cricket. We'll go to a Test match all 5 days. But
Yep.
if there was a T20 international across the road, I wouldn't even bother.
Absolutely. And the next
And
day you
speaking of,
wouldn't, and then the next day you wouldn't remember who won either.
well, it's exactly what Merv Hughes said the other day. Um, he remembers individual events on different tests of 25 years ago,
Yep.
yet can't even remember who the last game against.
You remember Mike Whitney blocking out those balls all those times. That was like 1980 fucking seven, mate. I
Yeah.
mean, come on. Come on. We remember that.
Yep.
You're exactly right,
I
mate.
know.
You're exactly
And my other gripe is get rid of T20 internationals. Just restrict it to franchise cricket. Just have
absolutely.
franchise cricket at T20 level.
And
Leave the T20, leave the ODIs and test matches playing intercountry and
absolutely.
just get on
You
with
know
it.
what? And you know what that might actually do? It might get investment in not may not, but it might get investment in T20 cricket from people like you and me who go, oh, I can actually follow a club where my international players are playing for, more of a investment in the franchises. At the moment, when the Raw are playing the Firebirds or whatever stupid names they bloody give them,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue who's playing. I wouldn't know. I'm sorry, I've just got no time or investment. And when they play the international stuff, it's kind of like, oh, it's on. I might turn it on, but I have no real desire to
Yep.
want to watch it. And like I said, like we say, can't remember who won the last T20. I mean, I just don't remember.
Well, and
So,
also the fact that players are turning away from international contracts now. I mean,
yep.
Kane Williamson's not on a central contract with
No,
New
no,
Zealand
because
cricket.
of the it's because of the money they can make in those
Yeah.
leagues. Those, yeah, exactly. So if you make it the other way around, reverse engineer it so that the only internationals are played one dayers and
Yep.
test cricket, and actually you could reorganize your tours a lot easier that way as well. You know,
Yep. And we've lost others like Trent Bolt. Probably should have played Test cricket
absolutely.
for another 2 years.
Maybe for 2 years that Southey, when
Yeah.
Southey was playing, we could have swapped them out because Trent's. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
while we're at bitch and moan corner, I completely applaud. I mean, yeah, once again, a bit of common sense. Just to finish the year, I've got a couple of things. Liverpool squad numbers. I'm bloody sick of our players wearing 99 or 76. When just fuck, mate, we've only got like 40 players. They should all just be in the up to about 50, and that's it. I'm sick of those bloody numbers. Sort that out. Another thing that pisses me off, that's pissed me off, but a bit of couch watching. Why is it that in America that whenever they've got they always list the home team second? It's them at somewhere.
Yep.
Them, so they're the only country in the world that does this. Every other sport lists the home team first. America, though, has to be fucking different, don't they? They have to go, this is Baltimore at Green Bay. It's like, why? I just don't get that. Maybe you've got an answer for me.
Well,
Finally,
it's all about feet
yeah,
and inches.
exactly. We're not moving. That's the way we've always done it. We're sticking with, and this is similar as well. Australia, it's 4 for 23. No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's 23 for fucking four. Why the fuck? The rest of the world's got the memo. Why the hell haven't you? I don't understand. Why can't we just, what's going on there? Why haven't Australia not sorted that shit out? What's going on?
Oh, I don't know.
So, just
Couple of good
things,
gripes there.
just things that bug me while I'm sitting down watching this sport, mate. I
Well,
just
I'm going to
don't get.
repeat one of my biggest annoyances,
Yeah,
which
go
we
on.
didn't see when the All Blacks were playing in the UK.
Oh
Music
yeah. Oh,
at rugby tests and rugby games. You
oh yeah.
don't need to blast music
Oh,
when a
I need to
scrum
hear
is
Sweet
being put
Caroline
together.
every 5 minutes. Give me some Sweet Caroline. Come on. It is so piss poor, isn't it? Hang on. Last 5 minutes. All Blacks trailing by three. They kick it down. 5 meter line out. Let's play some Sweet Caroline. Come on. Woo. It's like I'm not enough into the rugby. I need
Yeah,
some Sweet Caroline.
quite right, quite right. Anyway, moving away
Uh,
from that, we've had our gripes, and we'll come to some hopes for next year very shortly. But I
yeah.
just want to put something to you. 15 years, $765 million is what
Juan
Juan
Soto.
Soto has accepted from the New York Mets.
That is
$5
massive, isn't
million
it?
dollars more and 1 year less than what the Yankees offered him.
Wow.
It's crazy
Those
money, isn't it?
numbers, when they used to say telephone numbers don't do it anymore, do
No,
they? They're like international telephone numbers.
that's that's area code and number.
It is a it got me thinking, hey, when's the first $1 billion contract in
Oh,
sport going to be? It can't be too far away, right?
yeah, I mean, personally, I think Juan Soto is a fantastic hitter,
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic hitter. But he's only average in the field. He's a good base runner, don't get me wrong.
yeah, yeah.
And but 765 million,
It's
that's
a lot
more
of
than
money.
Joey Otane got. And Otane pitches as well.
Yeah, he does
So
both
he
things.
was
Yeah.
when he got 700 million last year from the Dodgers, it's like,
Hmm.
well, they're actually paying for two players.
Yeah,
Whereas with Soto, they're only paying for one player. And like all hitters, he'll have a slump period, but
of
he's got an
course.
opt out. There's an opt out clause after 5 years. I can almost guarantee that he'll opt out after 5 years and try and get a pay rise from somebody. He's
Probably. I mean, well,
all about the
look
money.
what he's
And the other
well,
reason I think,
look what he's just done. He's just
yeah,
done that to you guys, So 1 year. I mean,
yeah.
off, you
Um,
know?
I'm guessing he didn't want to stay at the Yankees because he was never going to be number one there.
Probably. Yeah.
Because you've got Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Um,
And you got
and
Stanton.
also, sorry,
And you got Stanton.
and well, yeah, but
Yeah, I know. I know what
yeah.
you're saying. Uh, haven't you
So,
just signed Cody Bellinger though?
oh well, I've got a big list of here of some of the notable off-season acquisitions, not just for the Yankees, but
Yeah.
for some of the others. Like Willie Adames has gone from the Brewers. He's signed a big deal with the San Francisco Giants.
Yep.
Cody Bellinger has just been traded from the Chicago Cubs to the Yankees.
That's a
Get
big trade.
your knitting out for this one. Garrett Crochet has signed for the. He was traded from the White Sox to the Red Sox. Matt
Crochet to the socks.
crochets. He's crocheted his socks.
That's
Um,
good.
Max Fried has signed the largest ever deal for a left-handed pitcher. 8 years, 218 million to go to the Yankees. Andres Jimenez is signed for the Blue Jays. He was previously played for the Cleveland. I nearly said Cavaliers.
What are they? Yeah, no,
The
the
Guardians.
Guardians. Thank you.
Um, Tyler O'Neill signed for the Orioles from the Red Sox. Former Yankees pitcher Luis Severino is signed for the A's. They've actually spent some money.
Wow.
Brady Singer, who's had a great upbringing with the Kansas City Royals, he's off to Cincinnati. Blake Snell, who was one of the Boris Five last year that held out right until the beginning of the season before he signed a 1 year deal with the San Francisco Giants. He's
Mm.
got a new deal, 5 years with the Dodgers. So yet another pitcher for the Dodgers. Kyle Tucker's an interesting one. He was a long-time right fielder for the Houston Astros,
Mm.
and he's been traded to the Chicago Cubs.
Okay.
And Devin Williams. Now, this guy's an interesting one. He's gone from the Brewers to the New York Yankees. Um, he's a closer, and he's got this one particular pitch called an airbender. It's basically
Okay.
it's it's a ball that changes direction basically in mid-flight. like normally, your standard curveball, it goes up and then comes down. They
It
call it
comes
a
down.
6 and 9, um,
Yeah.
or 12 and 6
This goes
curveball.
like a leg spinner almost.
Oh yeah, almost. It's not. They don't call it a knuckleball because it's actually spinning, but it
Wow.
yeah moves in flight, and
Bizarre.
yeah, and he can throw anything up to sort of 96, 97 miles per hour. Yeah,
Wow.
miles per hour,
Interesting.
not kilometers per hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then this airbender pitch that they call, he throws it. It's about 70 miles an hour.
Is it
That's
anything to do with Israel?
oh,
Israel Adesanya? You see it one time and then you don't.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So maybe it's the airbender. That's an awesome. I've got to keep an eye. What's this guy's name?
Devin Williams, and
Okay.
he'll be closing for the New York Yankees this year. And by all accounts, I mean, as a Yankees fan, I'm actually not unhappy that we didn't sign Soto because
Yeah.
if we had got him for 760 million, that
You
would have
wouldn't have
been
made
the
any of
ending
those
of.
other signings. That would
We
have
wouldn't
that
have
would have
made
been
these
it.
other three signings.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
have made one of them, but definitely not. And they're still looking for more because obviously this money that they had set aside for Soto's got to be spent.
Mm,
So
interesting.
Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, is having a bit of fun at the moment.
Got an open checkbook. Any more baseball stuff? Are you finished with your
No,
baseball?
that's it for baseball. It's yeah, it's just silly season at the moment. Players and pitchers and catchers report to spring training in the middle of February,
Yep.
which will be fantastic, and it's only 98 days till opening day.
Can't wait. It's a bit like the Warriors, mate. I can't wait for the Warriors to kick off as well. The biggest news in the Warriors thing was obviously Michaela Blyde going to the Warriors in how do you NRLW? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. Better
NRLW.
get the better get my acronym right. Might get cancelled. But that was great. That was a great signing, I thought. And also we've signed Titans halfback Tanner Boyd. Stoked for that. He killed us last year. So I'm yeah. So it's all just sort of fitness training and. Tidying up your first team squad. But yeah, quite interested in those signings. I was really interested in the in the signing of Michaela Blyde though. What did you make of her? Signing for
Yeah,
the
it's
Warriors.
well, it makes sense for these women
Well, it does, eh?
because the season's top and tail. They don't cross
That's
over
right.
each other. So all
Yeah.
these people that are complaining at the New Zealand Rugby Union
Oh,
not keeping hold of Michaela Blyde, come
why is she
on.
playing rugby league? It's not fair. She should be playing only rugby.
Yeah, yeah. It's ridiculous because I
It
mean,
is.
and it was everybody said the same thing when uh I can't remember her married name, but Tyler Nathan Wong went
Yes.
to the NRLW, and
Yes, they
everybody said,
were.
"Oh, New Zealand rugby's losing a great player." And suddenly, after the end of the NRLW season, she's back in a black jersey playing sevens.
Exactly. They only play a handful of games.
Mm.
They've got to take the money and take the work where they can get it. I mean, if they're
Oh,
good enough
exactly.
athletes to play, it's great. I'm just going to be interested to see how they go against some of those Australian athletes in
Yeah,
the
she can
NRLW
fly though.
because
She's
she can,
she's
mate.
quick.
I
Yeah,
was going to say, have we signed her for the actual Warriors? Because she would be bloody handy
yeah.
on the wing. Anyway, mate, I think we've only got a couple of
Imagine the
seconds
gaps that
remaining.
Roger Tuivasa-Sheck could put her into.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Hey, we better wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Yep,
Happy New Year. Roll into 2025. We're going to keep this thing going, aren't we, Mecca?
quite right. We'll be back with another Hot Air Sports podcast series of shows and sports interaction
We, we love it. It's going
in
to
the
be one
new
of the
year. So,
greatest.
yep.
It's going to be making podcasts great again. We're making the show great. So great. Great podcast. Great.
Really,
Until next time, it's goodbye
really
from me.
super stuff. And it's a goodbye from me.
We'll catch you next year. See you later.